Son of a bitch, you know, is really unbelievable.
Mr. Son of a bitch.
I mean,
Mr. Son of a bitch.
His royal. Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again.
Anything to talk about. Kimmel was given each one of them was given a reset except for Seth. I didn't even know he was still on the air.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did. Everyone's watching Forensic Files.
Yes.
No one's watching Seth.
One of the greatest shows ever.
Yeah, but these guys, they had opportunities to reset. Kimmel could have came back and tried to be funny again, or bring guests again, or show any kind of change, but they're really going to ride this out to the last drop. What are they going to do when he's gone?
Tyrus just did the unthinkable. He called out Jimmy Kimmel, and Hollywood is buzzing. The so-called late-night king might be tossing and turning tonight because this clash is pure chaos. It's the showdown no one asked for, but everyone secretly wanted. The bouncer-turned-comedian taking aim at the man who laughs hardest at his own punchlines. You can almost feel the tension through the screen, like a verbal cage match ready to explode. What did Kimmel do to deserve this heat? Why does Tyrus sound ready to body slam all of Hollywood? It's not just a feud, it's a moment. The industry's smug smile just cracked, and the crowd's loving every second. Grab your popcorn, because this isn't just entertainment. It's a full-on spectacle that's about to shake the late-night throne.
It's not the party. It's not the majority. It's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe and make you think twice about a joke or whatever, these things. And, a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people from, they go like, oh, you're no fun. I don't want to be around you.
Tyrus has finally done it. He's turned words into weapons. The man who once threw people across the wrestling ring now throws verbal punches that hit even harder. It's like WrestleMania, but with microphones instead of muscles. Every line he drops lands like a knockout, and this time, his opponent isn't some muscle-bound showboat in spandex. It's something far more delicate. Tyrus traded the ropes for a stage and still manages to shake the ground beneath him. His transformation from fighter to truth-teller feels unstoppable, like a storm, rolling through late-night TV. And now, with his target set, there's no turning back. Every word carries the weight of a body slam. Not of muscle, but of pure conviction. You can almost hear the crowd gasp as he squares up for his boldest takedown yet. And who dares to stand across from him this time? None other than Jimmy Kimmel, the so-called prince of late-night television.
Are they going to be with Rosie O'Donnell in a four-way Zoom podcast about Trump ruining their life still?
I'm glad you didn't stop at four-way. Although in my head I can see
it. Oh, come on, man. My mouth was open. Oh.
If you're enjoying this takedown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The man who hides behind cue cards like their armor and mistakes moral grandstanding for comedy. Kimmel, the Hollywood jester who built a career out of mocking others, suddenly finds himself in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. He's used to being the one delivering the punchlines, not taking them. But now the script's flipped, and the audience is watching every move. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One man built his brand in the chaos of the ring, the other in the comfort of applause. And this time, that comfort looks fragile. The stage lights feel hotter, the smiles more forced. You can almost sense it. The late-night darling just became the joke himself. And somehow, this feud isn't even close to fair. On one side, you've got Tyrus, a walking tank with the calm confidence of someone who's seen it all, from locker rooms to cable news studios. He's been through the grind, faced real chaos, and come out unshaken. On the other side, Jimmy Kimmel, a man who once cried on live TV and somehow thought that counted as journalism. It's the ultimate mismatch, raw strength versus polished ego. You can practically feel the imbalance.
Mamas, I've only had, I have one ex-wife. That's it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, you tell
I had some scruples. Okay? I'll have one night stands, but I will not marry people I don't love, okay? There's a certain line there.
You can't teach this cracker that.
I really think if they're going to continue to do a podcast, they need to bring their writers in. Ooh. Because that was brutal.
Terrible. They're out of touch.
It's like listening to two billionaires complaining about no one had change for their $100 bill at McDonald's. You know, it's like,
Tyrus represents grit, experience, and reality, the kind you can't fake under studio lights. Meanwhile, Kimmel hides behind applause signs, makeup, and moral speeches that sound deep until you actually listen. The stage has been set for a takedown no one saw coming, and the tension is electric. Every word Tyrus throws feels like a verbal uppercut, and every smirk from Kimmel only makes the crowd lean in closer. It's not just a feud, it's a cultural moment waiting to explode. The internet could smell the drama from miles away. This wasn't going to be some polite little spat. It was an all-out war. Fans were circling like sharks before the first punch was even thrown. This wasn't just a disagreement between two entertainers. It was a heavyweight battle where the gloves came off and the crowd demanded blood. Metaphorically, of course. Memes flew like confetti, hashtags lit up like fireworks, and everyone picked a side.
they're like three ex-lovers.
Yes.
Who just found out about each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all getting together to talk about the man they all still love.
Right.
And they're just sizing each other up, trying to figure out which one of us has the best shot to get back with him.
Yes.
They all get together, they compare notes, and they tell each other, yeah, you should never mention his name again. You should never mention his name again. You should never. Does he call you? Doesn't call me? He texted me last week. Oh, so I'm still in the game. That's all this was. And that's why nobody cared.
It felt less like a feud and more like a cultural event, a celebrity roast without the jokes, a cage match without the ropes. The tension had rhythm, the chaos had flavor. Every post, every tweet added fuel to the fire. People didn't just watch, they participated. They wanted to see Kimmel squirm and Tyrus roar. This wasn't comedy anymore. It was a social spectacle, and the entire digital world was front row for the carnage. The battle lines were drawn, and the internet was loving every second. Then Kimmel strutted in, armed with that Hollywood smugness and a teleprompter full of one-liners his writers probably scavenged from Reddit. He was ready to laugh at everything except himself. He rolled out his usual routine, flashing that "I'm better than you" grin, soaking in the applause from a crowd told when to clap. But just when he thought he had the stage under control, in stormed Tyrus, no script, no makeup, no pre-approved jokes. He didn't need fancy lights or laugh tracks. He came with truth, attitude, and a verbal folding chair ready to crack the Hollywood facade wide open. And when it landed, you could almost hear the ego shatter from Los Angeles to Twitter.
So annoyed. All I had was a crisp 100. They had no change. I was like, what is this world coming to? That's why I'm moving to Italy, girl. I know, me too.
Great.
Like, it's just...
Can I say something great?
Crossing guard goes, yeah.
How did you feel watching Kimmel cry?
One of his tears fell out. Hold on. You know, it's funny how this derangement's working, because it only seems to work if you have a camera in front of you.
Tyrus didn't just call Kimmel out, he tore down the act. The relatable everyman routine evaporated, exposing a comedian who hasn't connected with real people since gas was under $2. Kimmel's brand of mocking the masses for justice crumbled under the weight of Tyrus's raw honesty. It wasn't courage, It was recycling, and Tyrus called it for what it was. Tyrus saw straight through that glittering Hollywood fog machine and didn't hesitate to call it out. He wasn't chasing clout, he was demanding honesty. Someone had to say what everyone else was thinking, that Kimmel's version of punching up is really just mocking ordinary people from behind studio lights. Picture it, Kimmel sipping overpriced wine on a set funded by sponsors who still think TikTok is revolutionary while pretending to speak for the people. Tyrus's words hit harder because they came from experience, from a man who's fought for every inch of success, who's been through dirt, sweat, and silence before earning a microphone. He didn't get handed fame and a moral compass in a gift basket. He earned it. Suddenly, Kimmel's funny guy with empathy act started looking paper thin. The illusion cracked the moment someone real talked back.
Cares about the ex-wife's club.
Yeah.
You know, they just sit around, be funny, or they're setting up for when they're all canceled, their tour, their three-man show.
Yes.
Come watch us say how much we hate the president. The funniest thing about this whole thing is they act like he got into the White House, and right as he got in, he's like, your list that you wrote for him for people to go get. It's like ICE, here they are, go round them up. No one gives a frog's fat ass what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if they did, they would have stopped that podcast immediately.
Right. Yes.
That's right. 100%.
It's wild. The same man who used to prank strangers on live radio now can't handle a little criticism from a cable news commentator. The irony writes itself, and this time, the punchlines aimed right at him. And then the fans went absolutely wild. Social media transformed into a digital gladiator arena, one half chanting Tyrus's name like he'd just body-slammed Hollywood, the other half scrambling to defend Kimmel by digging up ancient clips from back when he was supposedly funny. Spoiler alert, there weren't many, but this was bigger than just two personalities clashing. It was a cultural earthquake. The loud, self-congratulatory bubble of Hollywood just got popped by someone who didn't care about its unspoken rules. Tyrus practically grabbed Late Night by the collar and said, "Maybe it's time you laughed at yourself." And for Kimmel, that's like asking a cat to take a bath. People weren't cheering because they hated Kimmel. They were cheering because Tyrus exposed something. He called out the hypocrisy of a man who once mocked elites, but now is one, living in luxury built on jokes about people he can't relate to anymore. The man's moral compass. It seems to point toward whoever signs the next sponsorship check.
I expected to walk into work, stepping over,
Me too.
crying, to your credit, libtards.
Yes.
Like, oh, excuse me, up tear.
Yes.
There we go. But it wasn't. Everybody went back to their lives.
Yeah.
So apparently the only way this heartbreak works is if you film it or force someone else to film it.
Right.
But to your point about Carson, we never knew his political affiliation because he was there to make everyone laugh. All the late night shows were.
At this point, even Hollywood had to admit Tyrus had a point. It was like watching the class clown finally realize the joke's on him. For years, Kimmel thrived inside his cozy little bubble, surrounded by applause that's more canned than his hair dye. But when Tyrus called him out, there was no applause sign big enough to drown out the truth. Fans started comparing Kimmel's scripted monologues to Tyrus's raw, unscripted fire, and it wasn't even close. Some even joked, "Hey Jimmy, maybe smile more and insult fewer truck drivers next time." The internet smelled weakness, and that was all it needed. Memes came crashing down harder than any punchline Kimmel's told in a decade. Tyrus didn't just win the argument, he seized the narrative. Suddenly, Kimmel's defenders were spinning faster than PR interns in panic mode, calling Tyrus bitter. Bitter? Please! Pointing out that the emperor has no humor isn't bitterness, it's honesty. Kimmel's been recycling punchlines like it's Earth Day, and the crowd's done pretending they're fresh.
One clown went all in on ignoring reality and blames MAGA.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So MAGA is desperately trying to portray Kirk's killer as not one of them. If that man was any more full of shit, he'd be a colostomy bag. That was 2 days ago, so Kimmel had the chance to walk it back, but he can't. And why?
The funniest part of all this? How the feud peeled back the thin, fragile line between comedy and activism. Kimmel's been tiptoeing that edge for years, pretending his punchlines save the world, when really they just save his ratings. Tyrus stormed in and said what everyone was thinking. Nah, you're not a hero, you're just performing for applause. And then the internet did what it always does. It turned everything into a battle for the soul of comedy. Suddenly, it wasn't just Tyrus versus Kimmel. It was real humor versus moral lectures dressed as jokes. On one side stood the Hollywood elite, clutching their self-importance like trophies. On the other, the regular folks, the ones who just want to laugh without being told they're wrong for it. Tyrus became the voice of that second group, unfiltered and fearless. His message was simple. Comedy should hit hard, not preach soft. The crowd agreed, and the numbers didn't lie. People are done with sanitized jokes and fake outrage. They're craving truth, even when it stings.
Them should be fired because it was such a big murderous election on one side that it should have been a reset. Because when it happened in 20, when he lost and Biden got in, I don't remember us doing an episode on coping skills. There was no line in the audience where I was like, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you. We just like, well, let's keep going. And I believe we made fun of the situation and ourselves. So I always tell people, try to be the bigger man, which is ironic. But
impossible.
In this case, because the poor sportsmanship is coming from TV, normally I would say you can have one lap and smell your flowers, but go ahead and take 4.
And that's exactly what Hollywood can't stand. Someone who doesn't play by their rules. Tyrus doesn't care about fitting in or getting approval. And that's why he wins without even trying. Kimmel's whole identity depends on being liked. But Tyrus, he thrives on being real. Instead of learning from the blow, Kimmel doubled down on the smugness, like someone throwing gasoline on a fire and calling it control. He fired back with fake calm and forced smiles, pretending he wasn't rattled. But everyone saw it. The truth hits different when it's wrapped in a punchline sharper than your ratings chart. Even neutral viewers began to notice the pattern. Every Kimmel clapback felt more scripted, more desperate. Meanwhile, Tyrus reminded everyone what comedy used to be. Dangerous, unpredictable, fearless. It wasn't curated for comfort. It was built to make people think. Watching Tyrus dismantle Kimmel's moral pedestal was like flipping the breaker in a room full of artificial light. Suddenly, the laughter felt real again, and Kimmel's act, dimmer than ever,